Hello and welcome out to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, WEBDAVE, David Anthony, and I am really excited to have tonight's guest on with us. That is Chris from 1H1D. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Dave, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. I know we've been talking about this for a little bit, and so glad we finally got a chance to get together and talk about games and everything else in our world, right?
Me too. Me too. Me too. All right, so let's get this out of the way right off the bat. So, Chris, what does 1H1D? What does that mean? What does that stand for?
Yeah. So 1H1D means 1 hour, one decision. So I host a podcast that my co-host and I, Tom, play a random game on Xbox Game Pass generally, and then play it for an hour and decide if it's worth playing past that hour or not. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean it's been pretty cool. We've just cracked the 230 episodes for the podcast, and we've been doing it just under 4 years at the time of this recording. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Like, and I think that the whole premise of like just a lot of times when you play, like you tend to just go to the games and IPs that you're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I pitched the idea to Tom about this, it was like, what if we want to? Like, I saw the surprising button on the Game Pass app on the PC. I was like, that's interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and like giving you like just broaden your gaming horizons, so to speak. So yeah, we played a lot of weird games that we probably wouldn't have picked up, and we try to do as much quote unquote analysis, or like we do the pros and cons of everything, even if it's a genre that we don't necessarily like. We have to make sure we do that. We try to be as balanced as possible with our takes, and then yeah, at the end we say if we're going to have any inhibition to continue to go past it or not the hour. So yeah, it's been surprising. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to get more into that and deep dive into how you guys got that started and everything.
Yeah.
And how you and your co-host met and decided to work all that thing through. But the first thing we got to get into is, so what got you into gaming? So, I mean, obviously, you to be a gaming channel, you've had to play some games. Where's your first experience with games?
Yeah. Well, I will say I am a PC gamer at heart. Like that's where I feel like I started. And I still feel like I remember I was at a family friend's house and they had I want to say it's an Apple, or no, I think it was like an Intel PC way back in the day. And they loaded up the LucasArts game Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Nice.
And that was like, I was like, what is this? Like, what, like you can do this on a computer outside of like typing words and stuff like that. And like, that was it. I was hooked. Like I wanted to keep playing. I love adventure games. I loved point and click adventure games. That was my thing. Like growing up, like one of my favorite games of all time is Sam & Max Hit the Road. That is a fun game. Again, like the LucasArts is cooking in the 90s. And I feel like that was just one of the things that I was like really into. And then like, I did have a console. I did have a Nintendo Entertainment System, but there was, I guess, some controversy because like we were walking through the department store. I'm aging myself right now, but called Alexander's, and I'd seen this new console. I was like, what is this? This is so cool. Like, again, like you put this on TV, you can play games. It's like that's all it does. And like I think I was probably like 7 or 8 at the time, and my parents could not pull me away from that with that display, and I just got on the floor crying and screaming until they bought the console. So that's what happened, and then they never bought me a console ever again after that. So
what console was that?
It was the NES. The NES.
The NES.
That was it. It was it. Like anytime like the Super Nintendo, Genesis, I'd have to go to a friend's house and play it. They would not let me buy. And then the games were like some of the games were like $89 at that point, right?
Oh yeah,
like I remember my parents took me to another store that's closed now, Consumers, where they had the Zelda, like the very first Zelda game, and it had the gold cartridge and everything. I remember $90. My parents were like, "What the heck is this? Like, why are you? This is so expensive." And it's like, yeah, it was no games after that. Also, I'd had to like borrow games and stuff like that.
Sure.
And but yeah, that
using guard work. I'm just kidding. Lots of chores lined up, right?
So yeah, it was a bunch of that. So like I would just I just stick to PC because my parents were okay with me having a PC and stuff like that because of like you could do things outside of playing games and stuff like that. So so that was me. And then I bought my own console, the Dreamcast, when I was able to like afford it and stuff like that. So and that's another system that's like near and dear to my heart because I was like the first one that
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's great. It was so cool. It was such a great console to have, and like it was so far ahead of its time compared to everything else that was out
exactly what I was thinking. It's so far ahead of its time.
So
if they had just made it the option to where it could have played DVD movies
right
at that time, there wouldn't be the situation we're in now. Just saying. But hindsight's 2020, and they were cutting a little cost here and there, and there was a little licensing fee you had to pay to have that particular driver in there. But man, can you just imagine how big it would have been if that was, because I mean that's really what helped the PlayStation
Sony,
2. So being able to play your DVD movies on it. So
what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's history. That's history for you.
Yeah, exactly. So all right. Well, with the Dreamcast, what was some of the games that you like playing with that?
I was not a good fighting game player, but I loved like the artwork in it. Like Capcom vs SNK2, like was so beautiful. I mean, I obviously had the Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff, but like every like arcade port that system had was just like 1-to-1. It was beautiful. And then like Power Stone, I loved that game. What else? Jet Grind was on there. It was just, the memories are flooding back to me now, Dave. It's like, it was so good. It was such a good time with that console, and unfortunately, it was also pretty easy to crack if you like
did that.
But it was awesome. It was just a good. The 2K games like the NFL 2K, NBA 2K. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was like you said. It was for everything from Blue Stinger to even
Fantasy Star. Fantasy Star was on there.
Yes.
ESO. And like that, I was playing that on a 56K modem. Like, and it was still like you could play that game and fully 3D and everything. Nowadays, like how could you do that? How could you play a game like that online anymore? Like
I know. I even like Sega Swirl.
Yeah.
The little in a game. I thought that's cool. It was just hours and hours of fun for people who like Bejeweled. It's that kind of thing. So but to me, Soul Calibur, dude, I would sit and just set up the little scenario thing where you could just watch your fighter fight or watch them go through a like their move set. I'd sit and watch that for hours on end. Seriously, because I was like,
because it's so like graphics are amazing.
I've never seen anything like that. It was like, wow, this is next level. This is great
for sure.
It's like a real person right there just doing it. Which, I didn't really kind of get what motion capture and all that kind of stuff was, but now you do.
Everything's mocapped at this point, right?
Exactly. In fact, this is AI Dave right now.
What?
just no max headroom here. I'm just kidding. Oh shoot! I watched a video on that earlier today. Some one of those famous YouTubers he made a video of himself saying that he was thinking about quitting, but all in AI and send it to all his friends to see what their response would be, see if they believed that was actually him or not. And then at the end, he let them know what it was. And about 50% of them were like fooled at least halfway through, or if not almost to the end. And one or two of them were like all the way to the end. They were like, wait, was that real? What? And let them know. But it was scary.
Like I heard there was an ad that was played during the NBA finals that was all like fully generated with AI. And it was like the guy did it in 2 days.
Wow.
Was able to create the script with like ChatGPT or something like that, and then using, I think Google has some sort of like AI rendering tool to create the actual he's like, here's the script, make this for me, and it did it, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, you could see it if you go look at it and watch it again. Like, I'll send it to you, and then like,
oh, cool, yeah,
you'll see like how much like it does. You can see there's some things like, oh, okay, now I see it's AI. It's like, but just on quick glance, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess it's an ad, and then you just kind of ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah, because they blur the lines so much. It's crazy, crazy. So, all right. So after the Dreamcast, so your gaming prowess, what did you continue with that? I mean, obviously you said PC, but like PC's pretty big. What kind of games hit your fancy?
Gaming wise on the PC, there was definitely a point where so after the adventure games, like I did like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, all that stuff, and then then the RTS like StarCraft, Warcraft 2, and then Diablo for a little bit. I think I fell off after like Diablo, and then because like all my friends were just so much high level, I was like, forget this, I'm gonna do this right now. And then like in college and stuff like that, I was able to purchase my like PS2 at the time, so I was like, oh, okay, awesome. Like now I can go back and see some of the games that are available on the Sony platform, and like fell in love with games like Def Jam Vendetta, like all NBA Street, like the fight, like EA was also doing really well during that time too. Like they had some awesome, like they were really innovative at that time too. Like Fight Night was awesome.
Yes.
Like with when the DualShock came out, like I feel like that's when you really saw what EA could do with that, and like how creative they were. Like even like the NBA Live games, like using the stick to do like your moves and stuff like that. Yeah, you could exploit the heck out of it, but it was still like it was cool. It was just like fun to do that. And then like after that, got an Xbox for a minute. I had it. I bought it just for Splinter Cell. Like that's like one of my favorite games of all time. Like just playing that. And like all the lighting, the stuff, like you could shoot out the lights and like all this stuff stealth wise.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh, it was so cool. And then like going on, like climbing on top of the pipes and like crawling across and like then taking shots from there. It was like, oh, so good. And now like Ubi has not released a Splinter Cell game in years. Like I think it's over a decade at this point.
Yeah,
and it's like, and they keep talking. Yep, there it is, iconic noise, but. They keep teasing us with like potentially a remake or whatever, but I'm not holding my breath at this point. They're just going to throw him into whatever DLC or as a character for their next shooter that they're going to close in 2 months or something like that.
Maybe, or maybe we're going to get a reveal this year.
Ooh,
just saying.
Okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I got it. Hey man, if they can do it, I'm happy. I'm happy for it.
All right. Well, you may be coming back to this podcast going.
Oh, okay. I'm down for that.
Just saying. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it's been a good year so far. We'll get into that too.
Yeah.
Trust me, we can get all kinds of insight on that. So sorry. So PC. And I agree with you. Splinter Cell, absolutely amazing. But like, was there like a? Was it you? Obviously, you seem like a vast gamer, which is good. I like being able to jump around different. Me too. I guess Pong Soul would say grazing. There's a little bit of this and that. But is there any like are you super into a certain area? I mean, is there a certain game that you're like you played like 100 hours or more in that you just really that's my jam?
100 hours. I mean, most recently. It would probably be the monster. Like I know I put 100 hours into Monster Hunter World.
Nice.
And then like Baldur's Gate. That Baldur's Gate 3 was another game that I put a ton of time into. I might be putting a lot of time into Expedition 33. I don't know because the games are pretty good so far. But yeah, like I guess I tend to like. Helldivers 2, another game recently. That was I definitely put a lot of time into. So the games that I tend to put a lot of time into is like games that maybe my friends are playing, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll hop on and like have that kind of connection because like as we get up to a certain age, time becomes precious for gaming.
Exactly. I'm old too. Don't worry.
So it's just like. you know, that's your time to like hang out with your
Mm-hmm.
friends and like just shoot the shit and have a good time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's been a struggle for me to go back to like dedicating a lot of time for single player games, but like I can appreciate that for the most part. So, but
Nice.
yeah, like yeah, I mean, Diablo 4, I put a lot of time into. Like, I fell off, like it's mentioned after Diablo, and then Diablo 4 looked like it was pretty good for like the first 2 seasons, and then I kind of like, all right, it's fine. I get it now at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, all right. Let's see. Is there
but like,
any? Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, yeah, but like in terms of like, do I have an allegiance to a particular like brand or something like
Yeah.
that?
Maybe.
Like, I mean, I would say yes. I definitely have more of an affinity to the Xbox console and like the brand, and like you know, I've been saying this for um, quite some time about like the fact that, you know, if Microsoft really like put their foot into it, like they could just really blow the doors off of anyone in terms of like the industry. And like I think they've started to I feel like they've
Yes,
done
they
a lot.
did to get their foot down.
I think they have. I mean, like, you
Yep.
know, obviously buying up publishers and stuff that can really like get you noticed. Now they're one of the largest publishers out there. So
Yep.
and so yeah, like it's just like they have all they have the technology. They can do it. Like, and they
Mm-hmm.
have. And now with the xCloud stuff and like everything's an Xbox, like this recordings an Xbox. I don't know, maybe. So it's
Could
like
be.
like but like it's just it's cool to finally see that vision come to life, and you know where Phil is trying to take this company, and like I'd say even the gaming industry as a whole is just has been exciting. Like you feel like Nintendo does their own thing. They have their own kind of market and
Right.
their own kind of stands or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that will follow
Which
them
works for
wherever
them.
they go, right? And
Yeah.
then Sony has their folks as well. But I mean, I feel like I appreciate the innovation that they're trying to push forward. And I know like this is a lot of stuff that they've been talking about for years, right? And a lot of people like push back, like when the Xbox One came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to do digital games for a while, and people were like, no, this is dumb. And then and now everyone's doing digital games. Like they don't sell Xbox physical games anymore. So it's like it's just what they were seeing that far behind, like that far, like in the past, that
Mm-hmm.
now people are finally come like full circle with that moment. So
For sure. For sure.
yeah,
Um, I guess. And all right. So gaming. Let's getting up to current day.
yeah,
So we talked about the Claire Obscure, but
yep.
I mean, like, if there's like a go-to game now, like something that you're going to play with your friends, like what's something or something you're just going to play on your own to kill some time, or just to,
Yeah.
for your own enjoyment. What's that game? What's that? What does that look like? Or is there
I
just too
mean,
many to choose?
I'm wearing it right now. Hi-Fi Rush. I'd be playing
Nice,
that.
excellent.
I love that game. It was sad to see it go, so to speak.
Yeah,
I'm glad that the studio is back and potentially making a sequel.
yeah.
So like those kind of like it was a cool little like mix of like rhythm game and action game, and like
Mm-hmm.
it was a little bit of a Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe to it as well.
Yeah.
So it was like um in terms of like other games that, yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned like Helldivers, you know, they tend to have some decent see like content that they're pushing out here and there, and I love the kind of the world building, the lore that's happening, that
Mm-hmm.
like the community is kind of helping build, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And yeah, like I mean, for me, like because Tom and I play so many random games, and like games that like, you know, I'll like kind of going back to what you're saying, I definitely am grazing, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. But like in terms of going deep with a lot of games, like it's been a challenge, especially with like work schedules and stuff like that, to like take the time. But like I said, I'm trying to do that with trying to finish up Claire Obscure, which I appreciate. Not many people are trying to spoil the game on social media, so I
Right.
that's really cool. That I
Yeah,
can
for
actually
sure.
experience that.
And that can that can definitely kind of like, oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
those moments. So
yes,
all right, well let's kind of turn things a little bit toward uh your podcast.
yeah,
So I guess what got you interested in even starting a podcast, and then how did you and your co-host get together? How did all this madness start?
Madness probably started
Mhm.
in junior year of college. We had well, Tom had joined the radio club in college, and he was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I need like a host or like a co-host to your interest." I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like, I was always curious about radio, and so we got into it, and we created like a variety show where we would have like each episode or each week would be like a separate, like a different theme, and we'd
Mhm.
have people come in and like request songs for that particular theme. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun to just kind of do that. And then fast forward after college and careers and stuff like that, it was I proposed to him like us doing like another podcast, and that was more like us, I guess, kind of like the genesis of this podcast, but it was like a longer form podcast where we were kind of like we would take a particular topic and take it on, so like the geek culture or culture or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did like 2 or 3 episodes, and but it was a lot longer, and it took a lot longer, and then like we just kind of dropped it. And then what ended up happening was um I was like, oh, I don't need this like content anymore. Let me delete the site. And then Tom, like out of the blue, just messaged me. He's like, he sent me an email. I was like, hey, did you just delete that content? I was like, yeah, like we weren't using it, so what's the point? And he's like, well, I was still kind of like keeping it up. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, by the way, and then like we were kind of like thinking about bringing back a potential idea, and like this was one where, like I mentioned, where I was literally on Game Pass. Like I just joined the service, and I was like, I was overwhelmed with the amount of content that was there at that time. This is probably like,
Right.
yeah, 3 or 4 years ago at this point. And and then I saw the surprising button. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, oh, uh, so I pitched the idea of like, what if we take a random game and play it? He's like, okay, but the stipulation is that we only play an hour. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Because it's like, and then the other stipulation was we would only talk about it. We try to have our conversation be 30 minutes or less, like a show.
Yeah.
Ideally 22 minutes, but like we tend to like go break that barrier every once in a while, especially if we have guests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit longer. But yeah, and then yeah, we like I said, we've been doing this for almost 4 years, and met a lot of great folks, you included, and yeah, just been kind of chugging along. And this is probably the most consistent creative thing that I've done, and it's been cool to just go through it.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. I like it. So all right. So we got I got the premise, which
Yeah.
which I do enjoy. But was there any? I guess. So does it have like a set time you drop stuff, or is it just kind of a
Yes.
random?
No, well, we
Yeah.
will randomly stream our playthroughs.
Nice.
That's for sure is random. But in terms of like our episodes drop weekly, Wednesday nights.
Mhm.
And I think we've done a pretty good job of dropping them at a fairly consistent clip. And like every once in a while, we'll do like we've had opportunities to talk to developers and have those episodes, like, and then we've done like a couple episodes where we did like brackets of games that we've played, and like kind of see what was the best of the best of that particular um, uh, round of games and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm looking at your playlist
Yeah.
on your site now. I mean, you have some really good games in there, like Trials of Mana, and some that are that are like, I'm like, wow, that's Ben 10,
Yeah.
and let's see, of course, Ghostwire, Balatro, just I mean some really Avowed, obviously, some really big ones in there, but some that are like even smaller, niche games,
Yeah.
Genesis, Nor, that that kind of stuff. Noir, sorry, can't pronounce anything.
It's all good.
But yeah. So I mean, that's and yeah, I'm looking at it. There's a lot of good stuff on here. A lot of and none of it's like you said, nothing overwhelming. So like if you really want to get into it, or you're not sure about a game, this is definitely a good way to do it. And a lot of current stuff, and a few older games, or a few things that obviously if it's obscure, that kind of really gets the audience to the point to where yeah, I wasn't sure about that either. But let's see what they like As Dusk Falls. Let's see their review on it and see what they say about it.
Yeah.
And then that maybe give me my chance to try it out or not.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what we try to make the episodes as digestible as possible. Again, like I said, under 30 minutes. If you got a car ride or whatever, it's easy enough to like drop in and hear our thoughts on the game. And we both have our particular likes and dislikes that we may favor a particular game and whatnot. But like we try to be as positive and about the game, and we understand that making games is hard, right?
Yeah,
and publishing a game and like putting it out there for other people to criticize it's brave, right? Like so I get it. And I mean, we try I don't say we try to put things like have try to be as like coddling, but at the same time we try to be as fair as possible. And like and I agree. Like, I feel like I would appreciate, like, I appreciate when we get a chance to play a game that maybe not many people are talking about. And those are the games where like, and like as an example, like Case of the Golden Idol, it's kind of like a point and click, but it's like, it's a little different because it's a mystery game. And like, you're kind of given this, it almost looks like a GIF. Like it's just like a repeating image. And you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the game, where you have to fill out like basically this sheet of this paper that says like what actually happened, and like that you just do that by deducing what's going on in the scene. And it's kind of like mystery game, and exactly. And you have to figure out who's in the particular picture and the particular scene, and all that stuff it's really cool. It's a really cool game. And it's just different. Like it's not a Call of Duty. It's not an NBA 2K. It's just and I love kind of being able to experience those kind of games because of like how expensive games are nowadays. There's big extremes, right? You have the super like $100 million GTA 6 kind of games, and then you have these little games that maybe two guys worked on, and then they could have just as much impact as like a GTA, but maybe at a smaller scale. But like it's just cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate how accessible it is to make a game too.
So I'm thinking that like Chris did it in the study with a candlestick. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But like you gotta go like over 162 episodes is what here on this particular
on YouTube. Yes, we only started doing like the YouTube stuff around that time frame. But like our audio, we go all the way back to episode 1, which was Albastia Chronicles. Probably don't want to listen to that one. That was like
we gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean and that's the other cool thing about kind of consistently doing this is like learning, like getting more efficient about creating the episodes, and like and then just getting that process down in terms of like how we were able to get as consistent as we can with these things. And it's been cool. It's been cool.
That's awesome. The thing I like about it too is that like I said, they're digestible, but they're also I mean, you can tell you have fun. And that's it's a good chemistry between you guys.
Thanks. I mean, I think that was the other thing too. It was just like another way for me to spend some time with Tom, because again, we are busy with our day-to-day stuff, and like this just gives us an opportunity to just hang out and talk about games, maybe games that we don't like, but at the same time we get a talk. And then like after we record, we'll just catch up on things like what shows are we watching, or if there's any other games and stuff like that we're really into. Like he's a big Star Wars guy, so he's always telling me about like, oh, watch Andor. I'm like, I'm good. Like,
He might like our show then.
maybe
We're kind of themed on it, even though
there
it's
you go.
nothing to do with Star Wars, but yeah.
Yeah,
But that's the premise behind it.
yeah, awesome,
Well,
awesome.
let me ask you this: so, have you ever, and you, all right? So, I guess have you guys ever talked about it and be like, oh man, this is one game that's come out. Let's do that one instead of being the random. You ever like force yourself to, we got to try this game?
100%, 100%. We have done that. In fact, most recently, our most recent episode, Tom picked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed game. He's a big Ninja Turtles fan. Raph all the way for me. And
nice.
And I had picked Doom: The Dark Ages. I wanted to play that because I was like, all right, this is a game that I know I loved Eternal. And I was like, if this is just more of that, like I'm so here for it. So, although, yeah, I guess to be fair, that does kind of already, I guess you kind of have an idea of like where I might be, where my mind is, but like at the same time, like I said, like I still want to point out the critical flaws or stuff like that I picked up on in that first hour. And then like when we have guests on, like sometimes we'll have them like pick the game for us, and then we'll talk about it. So yeah, there's some wiggle room with that, and yeah, and like I know I've heard the criticism already with like the show in terms of like, oh, it's only an hour, like how are you supposed to get most of the game? Which is true, like especially for like the JRPGs, right? Because like, I feel like when any of the JRPGs that we've had or bigger games like that, where they do a lot of lore dumping in the beginning, and it's like, but we learned that it's still possible to make a game like that and get you into the game without getting inundated with like a bunch of tutorials or a bunch of cutscenes. And it's like I feel like Clair Obscur did a pretty good job about that. And I know it's not JRPG in that aspect, but they definitely lean on that style of game. And I think they do a pretty good job of getting you invested in the characters pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying too. That some people might say it's you don't seem like you have enough time on one. But then again, if a game isn't hooking you in the first hour at some level, then you're not going to want to play it anyway. Then they haven't done their job.
Right. It's like, I mean, maybe like a perfect example is like Persona 5, right? Everyone's like, oh, the game only really starts at like hour 40. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't need to play this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Have you ever had, and you may have, just a curiosity question, I don't know. Have you ever had like a developer, like somebody who makes a game, come on your show and then you do their review thing on that? Or is this something you're thinking about?
Kind of, sort of. So we've had a couple of folks like the developers on Tinykin. I don't know if you've heard of that game, but we had them come on and talk about the game after, like not during our particular hour. We just did an interview with them after the fact.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was that's an interesting point. I'm kind of curious if we could get someone to come in and play the game with us for the first hour. But,
I know after going to and not name dropping again, sorry, but after going to Summer Game Fest and all the indie people that were there, and developers and stuff, which we got to do a walk around with a lot of different people that are God bless them, they're trying to make a name for themselves and get their game out there and get started. That would probably just absolutely jump at the bit to get on a show like yours and get feedback. And even if it's as long as you don't beat them up too bad, kind of thing, but maybe point out some flaws and but still, if there's ways to highlight the positive and stuff too, and maybe give them some critiques, I bet they would love to be on, because it would give them a chance to help promote their product and stuff like that. So I don't know. It just seems like that would be a kind of a nice little marriage, or maybe not. Not to oh, stranger show. No, it's not what I'm saying at all. No. I mean, you know what I mean. In a case, but I bet there's some people out there that are even that are not necessarily struggling, but that are starting off or getting things in the works, and they it's that time for them to start making their little push. And you sound like you have actually a really good platform for them to do that, where they can get more of an honest criticism without without getting the, because sometimes, people, they don't give them a chance. Any game, I played this game for 10 minutes and it was total garbage and don't waste your time. And then they're done and on to the next. And it's like that, that person's like, I spent the last, 15 minutes working on this game.
I know. So it's funny you mentioned that, because like I know there was like a couple of developers that have reached out in the past, and like, but their games were like not on Game Pass, but like on Steam. So they gave me a Steam code. I checked it out. Like I've done like articles for like, so Tom and I are part of our show is part of the QTB Network with the build, and so we we've like created, like I've written articles on their website for like game reviews or for like Steam codes and stuff like that we've had an opportunity to try out. That's awesome. I'll get like and there was like some random people that reached out like directly and be like, hey, can you check this game out? I'll give them like as much honest feedback as I can, because like we just talked about, like you put all this blood, sweat, and tears into something. You don't want that person just to trash your game. Like you want to know, like you want to get better. Like even as we're creating content right now, right? Mm-hmm. We always, I feel like I always want to get feedback. I always going to get better at what I'm doing. And that's like that's how else do we produce content that people will enjoy if you're always just gonna not listen to anything out there.
Right. Yeah. If you're not willing to grow, then your audience isn't going to grow.
Right.
So that's just it's kind of the hard basic fact of things, but I think what you're doing is fantastic. I don't know. It just seemed like to me that would kind of be a nice little way to even grow. I mean, not every episode, but I mean, like, once in a blue moon, maybe something comes up that you could incorporate something like that would be really cool.
I'd be awesome. I'd be awesome if we could do that. Like get some.
Well, I know we have some developers that do watch our show, and hopefully they'll watch this and maybe they'll be like, hey, reach out to you. But in the description below is going to be. We're going to have your link tree. All your contacts are going to be in there available, as well as some of your direct feeds are going to be in the description of this video and audio for listening on audio later. Just to let everybody know that they definitely will be able to reach out to you and will be able to get in contact with you and stuff. And Chris, we're not ready to wrap things up quite yet, but I do think you have a really good show, and I think more people really need to give it a chance. Nice. Oh, dude, I think it's great. I tell you, somebody I think would, and you may already know, is a king from the Iron Lords.
Oh, okay.
King David. He is he loves games, all kinds of games and everything, and this like you said, the smaller little bite of like kind of reviews and stuff. I think he'd be all over that. So. Awesome. So definitely, I'm gonna make sure I send this to him when we get done with when this goes up tomorrow.
Cool.
And if somebody's watching this right now, just kidding, we'll make sure he gets that at least get some eyes on it, because you never know. Like I said, there's a lot of people in the community that are super nice and super good, and that's the whole reason you started this show, was to want to make sure that people, because there's people out there that I didn't know about, or there's people out there that are like, who's this person, and somebody else will be like, you haven't heard of them? No. And then I'll listen to him, talk to him, like, oh wow. And there's other people that I'm like, you should put this person on. I'll think, cool. And then I'll listen to him and I'm like, oh my God, where's this person been? I mean, why don't I know, I want to, hang out with this person more often because of their content and the way they think. So, it's great. And that's what I love about the gaming community. And I'm not, no fanboyism of any kind, but just gamers in general. Yeah. I love it, man. It's just, it's so much fun. And I've been a gamer since the Atari days, man.
Yeah.
When the day it came out, my dad's like, come on, you're going with me. We went to Sears and Roebuck. Yeah, that's what it was called then.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, let's and we bought it because he thought he wanted to try that because all the new technology and stuff. And my dad was all into that. He played about an hour and a half, and then he never really played it again. But seriously, and that was like that was all me. So
nice.
I was like, mine now. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. But for a little bit he was into it, but yeah, so that's it's kind of the way it goes. So let's I guess as we start to wrap things up a little bit, let's get so current the current state of gaming, wow, it is I mean, all right, since Game Pass really seems to influence your show a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Game Pass. And of course, people are already like, they're going to raise prices again. Well, it may or may not, who knows? who cares if they do and you can't afford it? There's smaller tiers, whatever you want to feel like you want to do. But to me, it's ultimate all the way, and I love it because it's both PC and console and cloud, which I'm really getting into now. They have a new handheld coming out. It's and the future of gaming. Sarah Bond made that the kind of the big thing, and then of course you have the all the other people that are coming out and talking about their their products and stuff that are really going to be going into that handheld and the next gen console, which they are making. Sorry to disappoint people who think they're not, but yeah, there is another console coming from Microsoft.
Yeah,
and from what we understand, it's going to be really, really, really big. It's going to be
like physically.
No. We'll just say this is truly, and a lot of people heard the rumors and stuff, but it's truly going to be a game changer.
Nice.
And that's it's all I can say. But it's speaking of gaming, game changer. Yeah. But so this is and Pong Soul said this too, and I love him for it. That this is the golden age of gaming, and I don't think he is off the mark at all on that. I think he's right on because even like 4 or 5 years ago, you're thinking like everybody's like, ooh, there's not very many games coming out from Microsoft, and they're having a bad year, and this, and then but Sony seemed to kind of, I'll say this in a nice way, put all their chips in at that time, and then now they're like, we have nothing left to put in. I'm just, and I'm not, so they don't. So, and they've had to make a lot of changes and a lot of mismanagement. To be honest, Jim Ryan isn't not there because he wanted to retire. He's gone because he was sinking them fast, and that's just the way it is, man. But your thoughts on where gaming is now, and what do you think the future is going to hold? Yeah. And are you excited for Game Pass?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you're starting to see the investment that Microsoft has put into buying all these development studios, and and it's really exciting to see all this stuff like actually come to fruition with like all the different types of games. Like, look, Obsidian is like, I don't know how they do it, but Obsidian is just like unbelievable with the amount of games. Like even this year, what are they coming out with 3 games? They came out, or they will be coming out with 3 games this year. And it's like unreal. And I don't think they're a very large studio compared to like, even like take like Rockstar or something like that, right? They're a lot smaller, but they're able to pump out all these like quality games. Like at least 7 and above in terms of like that kind of quality games. And 7's not a bad score, people. Just so you're aware.
It's not.
But yeah, like I mean, I think competition is good, and I feel like you bring out the best in these studios and in the community, in gaming community as a whole, right? And yes, I feel like there's like just extremes with a lot of things. Like you've got your fanboys on either side that are just trash talking each other and saying they're the best. They're planting a flag like, oh wow, like PlayStation's cooking and like Xbox is cooking or whatever it is. Like, okay, and that's okay because then those companies be like, okay, how do we get those folks over to our side now, or like convince them that this is. And yeah, like we talked about like where Microsoft is trying a different approach from what Sony and Nintendo are doing, and it's just an interesting time to see how the industry has matured. In I feel like when we're talking about in the 90s or 80s, it's like it's a kids game now, but like those kids have grown up, and so has the industry like followed them along and like gotten some very interesting types of games. Like you've got interesting studio heads even like coming out from the woodwork. But yeah, like, and look, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Like you're going to you have like people that sometimes you'll take chances and flop really hard, like Concord. But that's we're beating a dead horse there at that point, but it's pulverized.
Or a dead pony.
Sorry. Yes. But but yeah, it's just I mean, I appreciate them taking risks maybe,
Yeah.
and it might not work, and it kind of sucks for some studios that maybe like put all their chips into this, and it looks really bad. Like Marathon doesn't look great right now either. So it's like,
Right.
um, but I like the approach that Microsoft is doing. Like at least getting these like smaller games. I wish they go even more. Like I know, like Alan Wake, when Alan Wake first came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of like these episodic, um, well, the episodes for the game as opposed like smaller chunks of stories,
Mm-hmm.
and like that, I feel like that would give the developers time to just like carefully craft a story from A to B
Mm-hmm.
without having to like deal with like a whole overarching story, and like that is just kind of cool. Like to bring that kind of way of making games back so that you can have these smaller focused experiences, and those are the kind of games I appreciate at times when I like when we're going through our reviews. Like, you know, when a game is 60 70 hours and you're like, but if a lot of it, those 60 70 hours is just like filler, that's like, okay, well, I don't really care for this because like I want to get to the meat and bones of a lot of meat and potatoes of, or my meat and bones, oh god, who's that, meat and potatoes
I
of,
got you.
of the games. But like, but yeah, but yeah, I'm excited. Like I'm excited to see what, like, you know, now Microsoft's like thrown the haymaker, so to speak, and now how will Sony respond? How will Nintendo? Like Nintendo has their Switch too, which, you know, has done, is, from what I understand, sold pretty well. Some people
Biggest
still,
selling opening console launch of all time
yeah, yeah.
of
So
any system
I mean,
ever.
congrats to them. Like,
Yeah. So
and that's fun. That's fun. You'll see all this stuff happen in real time, and yeah, I'm reaping the benefits because there's more content for me to like
there you go.
put out there too. So
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I didn't want to try to cut you off. I'm sorry. I was
yeah,
just,
no.
but yeah, but you know, you're right. It's absolutely big. So as I guess as we wrap things up, I always like to find out, and I'm always careful the way I ask this. So and no one has ever given me a single game. So just so you know, you're more than welcome to give more than one answer,
Yeah.
because some people just and seriously, and no one has ever picked out just one game that they're like, sorry. So here's the premise. The
Okay.
question is, so what is a game that we've heard of, or at least it's been officially announced, okay, that we know is in the works, that you are absolutely just the most excited for, or you're the most anticipated game that's coming out, and it can definitely be more than one, and it can be on any platform or format. It doesn't matter. But it has to be something, because I have to be careful with some of the people I have on. They have a lot of inside information, and they're like, no, we don't want to. I'm not trying to dig out something that don't get anybody in trouble, because
Yeah.
NDAs are a real thing.
Yeah.
Just saying.
For sure. For sure.
So that's the question I have for you as we start to wrap things up. What's something coming out that you're absolutely just dying for, or you've been waiting for? Or...
I have been dying for Replaced.
Yes.
I wanted this game for so long, and it's like they keep saying, "Oh, it's coming, it's coming." I think they even said it was coming 2025 for sure, and now radio silence. So it's been one of those games that I love the aesthetic, that like cyberpunk, like Blade Runner style, like the pixel art, but like, and yeah, but it's just been, there's a game that came out, or that was hinted at a game, I think it was an Xbox showcase years ago, called Replaced, not Replaced, called The Last Night.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought that this game was like they renamed it or something, but it was like they're two totally separate studios. I don't know what happened to that, but it's very similar looking games. Still that kind of noir cyberpunk kind of thing. I love like I love a detective game like that. That's the kind of stuff that I would want to see. But yeah, Replace seems like right up my alley, and I cannot wait for that game to come out.
Cool deal. Nothing else? That's the only one?
I mean, that's the biggest one, like right off the top of my head, that I'm excited about. I mean, I'm curious about GTA 6, as probably millions of other people are. But like, I wasn't a huge fan of GTA 5, so I was like, okay, well, let's just see if this is going to be any different. Which, I mean, it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely incredible. Like the fidelity that they were able to crank out of this game. But yeah, like those two probably are like the ones that right off the top of my head, like I'm gonna probably say I'm super excited for. So
yeah, me too. GTA is definitely a good one. Old GTA vibe here.
Oh
yeah,
shit! Here we go again.
So yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be good. And I do like your choice there. Hopefully, we just halfway through the year, so maybe there's something or at least maybe we'll get an update before and find out when it's coming out. But I put it this way, and you may or may not be on the same bandwagon, but I would rather a game cook a little longer to get it right than to be like throw it out there and be like, ooh, shitstorm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. Like I mean, it's just there was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That was another one that I was really looking forward to. I don't know. It looks a little murky. They said it's supposed to be coming out this year. It's in my Fantasy Critic draft. I don't know why I thought that, but it's supposed to come out in October. We'll see. But yeah, like I agree with you. Like take the time to do it. Like just like how Blizzard used to do it. Like it's out when it's done, right? And but unfortunately, because of like outside money and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, we need to hit our targets for this quarter or whatever it is. Like that's where it gets frustrating because it's not. It takes the passion out of the game. It takes the passion out of what these guys are putting out there, and now it's just about money, about revenue and stuff like that. Which I get it, but
yeah. I mean, obviously you got to make money, but still, sometimes we got to make sure it's like a really good product first, or you're not going to make the money in the long run.
Agreed.
So yeah. So awesome. Chris, it has been an absolute honor to have you on today. I really enjoyed talking to you. I think you're a great guy and you have a really, really good podcast. And hopefully lots of people are going to check it out. The link's going to be in the description below. But please, if you don't mind, tell everybody where they can reach out to you, where they can find you, and when your show is on.
Yeah. Dave, thanks again. The honor is mine. Seriously. Like I'm so glad that we had a chance to do this. And where you can find me, I am primarily on Blue Sky at this point, but at 1H1D there. You can find our show on all the podcasting platform, audio podcasting platforms like Apple, Spotify, etc. All that stuff is in our link tree. And then we post our YouTube. Now we have our video podcast up on the QTB channel, and those all that stuff. Our videos are a little delayed. We'll have those up generally on Monday evenings or Monday mornings. But our audio podcast is always up by like Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. So
nice.
Yeah. So just been chugging along with that. And again, thank you so much. This has been a blast. And it's also kind of weird, like talking about myself, like whereas like, I'm usually the one talking about other games and with other folks and stuff like that. So, but
I thought you did a great job. So there you go.
I appreciate you being a very gracious host. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. And like I said, I would definitely do want to get you on to the Gamers Council.
I'd love to have, we'd love to have you on as well. Just, see what kind of games.
Sure. We can get ourselves into a lot of trouble that way. Just kidding. I'll have to watch my mouth. I'm just kidding. Well, sometimes I get a little crazy, but yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It'll be fun. But Chris, thanks again. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time. Everybody, please check out his channel. And not only do you need to subscribe to his YouTube channel, but you need to make sure that you hit the icon button, the little bell icon, so that way you're notified whenever the show drops. So even if you don't get to watch it, when it first drops, they have a really vast archive of games that are up there, and a lot of them I think that you might want to check out. And if you weren't sure about, give them a listen, give them a watch, and see if you find a game that might just interest you. That's always the best way to do it. So please, and thanks to everybody for joining us here on Outbreak Gamers.